Alright, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's video. Today is March 23rd, 2025, and I'm going to be going over the weekly market outlook for the week of March 24th till March 28th. So to begin today's video, I do want to take a look at the economic calendar, just so I can see, the volatility that could be brought in, and just some of the key economic news that I should be looking out for today or this week. So for this week, we have flash manufacturing PMI numbers and flash services PMI being released on Monday at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time. And on Thursday, we have GDP and unemployment claims. And Friday, we have core PCE price index. So I believe that PCE right here, with some of the podcasts that I've watched, I've heard that PCE is essentially like a inflation calculator. So we'll see where this is at. And yeah, so we do have some volatile news. We do have some important news coming into this week that could bring in volatility. But going into the actual charts here, technical wise, this is what I have in mind, right? So this is the week, or this is the candle of previous week. It's pretty, I would say, unclear. It's not very, it doesn't really favor a direction, right? With the way that we closed here last week. So this weekly candle that we created, I can't anticipate if we're going to take out previous week's high or previous week's low. I wouldn't force a weekly higher time frame objective coming into this week. I don't really want to force a directional bias on the weekly time frame, at least. So that's kind of what I have in mind coming into the daily time frame, at least for Monday. I was anticipating for prices to take out previous day low, and it turns out that we ended up taking out previous day not previous day low, but previous day high. So this is Friday's candle, right? And it's easy for me to assume that the Friday's high of day would be the draw of liquidity here, right? So with the way that we created this daily candle here on Friday, I could anticipate that Friday's high is the draw of liquidity, and we're probably most likely going to take out the daily high. However, once we came into this week, once we opened up this week here, we actually ended up having a gap up, and we took out the high already, right? So I don't really have a daily bias or a weekly bias coming into tomorrow on Monday. So I'll get more into that during the live stream tomorrow, but just know that my bias coming into Monday was previous day high, which was Friday's high of day. And yeah, so one thing that I do want to keep, or I guess point your attention to here, is that on the 5-week time frame here, this is the 5-week candle here. And with the way that we closed here on this weekly candle, or this 5-weekly candle, it's easy to assume, or like my best assumption here would be that we're most likely going to take out the 5-week low. So 5-week low here, that's kind of the draw of liquidity here for the next 5 weeks. So this is the draw of liquidity for the higher time frame. So in the next 24 days or so, right, I want to see us take out the 5-week low. I want to see us take out the 5-week low here on this 5-week candle. So maybe we create the open, we manipulate higher, and then we we trade up lower, right? That would be my bias coming into the next 5 weeks. But like I stated before, the weekly candle doesn't really isn't really pushing me towards a direction. It's just pretty consolidative, which was something that I was anticipating coming to this week. Yeah, So that's my weekly analysis here for NQ. Going into ES, I have the same analysis here as well. So on ES, I am favoring the same thing, right? The weekly, with the way that we closed here last week, it's pretty neutral. We consolidated last week. We didn't really do much here, and same thing here on the daily time frame, right? This is the Friday's candle, and it's easy for me to assume that we're most likely going to take out the Friday's high of day. But when we opened up here on Sunday, we gapped up. We took out Friday's high of day, and yeah, we completed the objective. This year, there's not really much I can really anticipate coming into Monday. So my best bet here for both the indices, for NQ and ES, is to rely on the daily time frame and use the intraday time frames if the daily time frames objective is completed, such as going into Monday here. Going into Monday, I'm not going to rely on the weekly time frame nor the daily time frame. I'm going to really utilize the intraday time frames, such as the 4-hour, the 6-hour, the 8-hour, or the 10-hour time frame for a higher time frame objective, right? And you're probably wondering, like, hey, you just used the term higher time frame objective for the weekly time frame, for the daily time frame, and for the 4-hour time frame. Every single time frame has an objective. So if I'm comparing the 15-minute time frame to the 1-hour time frame, the higher time frame would be considered the higher time frame objective, right? It's fractal is what I'm trying to say here. Prices is fractal, and that's like for a completely different video. I'll get more into that in my daily live streams, and you guys can check that out on my YouTube channel. I'll be live streaming every single day here, 8:30 Central Time, a.m. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for the weekly analysis. One thing that I do want to mention here as well is that if we do end up taking out previous week's high, just watch and see how we trade up into this inefficiency, even if we do trade up into this weekly fair value gap. So this is the weekly fair value gap that I'm referring to right here. So if we do end up taking out previous week's high on ES and NQ, just pay attention to how we treat this inefficiency here, right? Based on the 5-week time frame, like I said, if you guys remember, I want to see us take out the 5-week low. That is my objective. And if I'm favoring lower prices, right, then that means that this inefficiency here on the weekly time frame should follow, or should it should follow the 5 weeks objective, which is the weekly the 5-week low. Yeah, with that, that's gonna wrap it up for the weekly market outlook for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, be safe.